The Sony boss heard it and was like, whoa, this is incredible. I can't believe you have access to our local, style too. So it's not too Western. And that's just because I'm super into Taiwanese music, ever since I was 18. And so they asked me, can I write a song like Evanescence for Mo Wen Wei? And I said, for sure. And they said, okay, but here's the thing. And you only have 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And I was like, no. I was like, not a problem. This is so exciting for me. And then 24 hours later, he calls me up. He's like, yo, they chose your song. I was like, this is incredible. And I had no idea.
Hello, what's up? I am Joey, and this is ICRT TaiwanPlus, an interview series powered by the only all-English radio station and streaming platform here in Taiwan. Today, once again, I always start with this. I'll be speaking with a friend. Once upon a time, a somewhat co-worker. We've done events together, and he's been here in Taiwan, nurturing the music industry in Taiwan for quite some time. His name is Scott Tsuyama. What's up? How you doing, my man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I am very well. It's been a minute since we last saw each other.
I don't even remember the last time. What, three years ago, maybe?
Gotta be, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
You've been nurturing, contributing to the diversity of Taiwan's music industry for quite some time. But, I have never actually sat down with you to talk about your start. Like, what brought you to Taiwan, or even where are you from? I think somewhere in Washington, right?
So I'm from Seattle, Washington. I'm actually not really even Chinese. I did the 23andMe. I did that test, and I am 2% Chinese, actually.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm half Japanese, half Swedish, and grew up in Seattle making music with all my friends. Just really normal, typical kind of white American childhood, really. And then when I was about 18, I just felt like there's this huge drop in American music. It was NSYNC, Britney Spears, Korn.
Yeah.
The popular music changed, and I was just not into it. And so I started to watch the international channel, just kind of religiously. And I had a VHS player connected, and I would just videotape anytime like Asian music videos would come on, because it was just blowing my mind. And this is way before YouTube, before the internet really. So that was my only way to get this new sound. And sometimes it was Japanese, sometimes it was Korean, sometimes it was Chinese, sometimes it was Vietnamese, sometimes it was Thai. And back then I didn't really know the difference. I just knew this sounded cool and interesting. Little did I know I'm actually watching a lot of Taiwanese music at that time. But I had no idea who it was. Yeah. And so after I finished high school, I went to a music college in LA called Musicians Institute.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends was this girl named Kathy, and she's from Taiwan. And she was in a cover band like all of her life. She was already like 35 or something by the time she got there. So she knew all the Chinese songs. And so she started kind of playing one of these songs that, like, I remember hearing it from the music videos that I had taped. I was like, this is my jam. I love this song. Who is it? What is it? And it turns out it was Tanya Chow from, Malaysia, Singapore.
That's right.
But I had no idea what it was. I just loved the song. And so she started playing it. I was like, oh my God, this sounds so good. This is the kind of music I want to make. This is beautiful. And so, fast forward like a year and a half later, I've been at school now for a year and a half in LA. And one of my best friends is a Taiwanese guy. My Taiwanese friend started to work at Sony Music Taiwan.
Oh.
And I know every time I had a new demo or something, I would upload it to, kind of like Dropbox or something. And then I would send him the link. And so we were always kind of sharing our music and stuff back and forth. And one day he asked me, he's like, hey, man, do you mind if I show my boss at Sony your demos? And I was like, for sure. This is great. And so he showed all my demos to the A&R head at Sony at the time. And that guy really, really liked it. And this is back in 2002. So there's no YouTube. It's very hard to even send an MP3 over the internet.
Yeah.
And the Sony boss heard it and was like, whoa, this is incredible. I can't believe you have access to, a Western person that can make this Western sound, but also has a bit of like our local, style too. So it's not too Western. And that's just because I'm super into Taiwanese music, ever since I was 18. And so they asked me, can I write a song like Evanescence for Mo Wen Wei? And I said, for sure. And they said, okay, but here's the thing. It was like a Thursday, and they said, we're having the meeting in 24 hours.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I was like, not a problem. This is so exciting for me. So I didn't sleep at all, and I wrote Ice Me, and I recorded it, and then I had my friend come over and sing the demo. And, I uploaded it, sent it to them. And then 24 hours later, he calls me up. He's like, yo, they chose your song.
Oh, really?
They gave me $800 US basically to do the arrangement. But doing an arrangement is something that I've never heard of because it doesn't exist in Western culture. The producer just does everything. So I didn't know what an arranger was. And so I just took that $800 and I went into the studio, the same studio that Nirvana and Pearl Jam recorded, like one of the best studios in Seattle.
Oh, you rented it?
Rented it, yeah. And then
that means you probably spent the whole $800.
I spent way more. Yeah, I went way over budget. I spent $1,300. I never told Sony, and I was just like asking my mom, hey, I need more money because I want to do a really good job.
Yeah.
On this. And so we all played it and it sounded really good. And then I had to send the sort of like, it was DVDs back then, send them all the DVDs of the session and stuff.
Yeah.
And they, were really impressed. And they said, hey, we have a crazy idea. How about we fly, this is Sony. And they're like, how about we fly you to Taiwan and you can help us record the vocals for Karen and Kuyulun.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, this is incredible. I would love to. This is like my dream come true. I've been making demos in my mom's basement like all my life, but I never really done it.
How old were you at this point?
At this time, I'm 20.
Okay.
And I get on a plane. I come to Taiwan. And Kuyulun is the guy who picks me up from the airport because he's the only guy who has a car. So I didn't know he's like this kind of celebrity, and I didn't know, about his dad or his family or anything. He's just like this nice dude who like spoke English really well. So I was like, this is great. It was really fun. And I met Karen, I think the next day, and we did the vocals. And then I think, a few days later, we did the vocals with Kuyulun. And then a few days after that, we mixed it and it was kind of done. And I was super proud of it. And then I had a meeting with the Sony bosses and they said, hey, we had this crazy idea. How about you go back to Seattle, you pack up all your studio, you pack up all your stuff, and you just move here and you just work for us.
That's crazy. I didn't know that's your story. My goodness. Because, at the start of your career, you had that Karen Mok collaboration. And Karen is still very relevant. They're still very big to this day, right? You had Joey Yoon, Rong Zuer, and you work with Zhang Xueyou, even Jackie Chan, and Jordan Chan. Those are big names from Hong Kong. So I've always thought, did Scott spend some time in Hong Kong? But no, it's because they were producing a lot of that music here in Taiwan.
Oh, well, I did spend time in Hong Kong, though, as well.
You did?
Yeah. So I was here in Taiwan in 2002 to 2003. And about after a year and a half, I moved to Macau. Because I couldn't get a visa here for the first time when I first moved here. The government was not giving out visas for songwriting because technically I didn't have to be here. I could upload MP3s and stuff. So I didn't have to be here. And so I had to leave every 30 days. At that time, Americans had to leave every 30 days. It was fun for me too, because I got to explore Hong Kong at the same time. And another guy I went to school with was a guy from Hong Kong. So I would just go and visit him. And then his family business was making casinos in Macau. So I started flying to Macau every 30 days and then, spending a few days with him and then coming back.
I hear a lot. I mean, for those of you who are watching this, you can see that Scott is just oozing with that positive energy, right? I mean, when you speak, because this guy is just full of infectious for a lot of people. But then from your story, I also hear that, someone gave you $800 just to do arrangements and you went above and beyond and produced a whole song in a very expensive studio. And I think there's a lesson to be learned there, right? To always be more prepared than you need to be. And in the end, you became one of those record label, ICRT Presents, has been producing for a lot of musicians who are startups or, who have different visions, but they may not have the money to produce songs. And you've been a safe haven for that kind of artist. So it's been, Vicky, Ocean, Evangeline, and also ICRT's former DJ, Sophie, who came back from Canada just to with you. So is that now where you've been here in Taiwan? Do you feel like the preference to music for Taiwanese people has changed? Do you feel like the kind of music that the Taiwanese industry is willing to receive has changed? And of course, there's a little curveball after it's been changed. How does it work into YouTube, Spotify, KKBox, all of that?
I think for sure. I think as soon as sort of like the world got connected with YouTube, everything got a bit more global, I will say. So maybe a song from the 1980s kind of Taiwanese history will not really do so well now because it's just lacking a little bit of that sort of Western global sound. And vice versa, a very global song from now, back in the 1980s would be maybe too foreign. for Taiwan at that time. Yeah. So that's definitely a big factor. And then, yeah, I think with online streaming, with IG, it's scrolling so fast, right? You're just getting content. If you're not hit with the chorus within like a few seconds, or hit with something that your ear feels catchy, you're going to swipe off, right? Yeah. So that's a big factor now. But I feel like because I'm also in this same society, I'm also using TikTok, I'm also using IG. I also feel bored if I have to listen to a 30-second like violin intro. I naturally won't make that or put that into any of the songs that I'm working on. So I think the next thing that Spotify recommends me will be something totally different, and I'll be inspired by that and try to incorporate it here too.
Nowadays, like, you gotta be able to change with the trends, and you got to be able to catch on to different platforms, which is essentially what TaiwanPlus and ICRT is also racing to do, right? We're racing to the streaming services. So for you, coming up next, Scott, for you and for SKR Presents, what's in the short term? What do you have project brooding in the background?
We have a really great secret project, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. I really want to. I know, but that will hopefully be coming out in April.
2022.
And we've been working on that for like a year. And then besides that, both Li Jianming and JoJo is on Shenling Ziwang Season 3 right now. So that's really exciting. And then other kind of put all of our eggs in the secret project basket. It might be a little bit more sparse up until April. So it'd probably be like just 2 music videos a month. Until then, but everybody's, kind of are at this weird point where we don't know if it's really, what the value of an album is. When you just have like a hit song, that's already more than enough. And to have a album is kind of just like a collection of all the songs that you tried to release already. So I think that's kind of how we're looking at it. It's more like a wrapper for when we're finished, kind of like telling this part of the artist's life, and then we want to move on to a new part, something like that.
Nowadays, you're right. It's like a time capsule of a record of an artist's period in life, and we're looking forward to this new secret eggs basket coming out in April. And along the way, hopefully we'll be able to, for this series of interviews, we'll be able to interview some of your artists, Li Jianming or JoJo, or any artist that's coming out with new singles.
Pretty good.
Yes, exactly. And today, it's so good to have Taosan Scott Suyama here joining us on ICRT TaiwanPlus. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.